The night before my wedding, I heard them through the wall. Ruin her dress, lose the rings, she doesn't deserve him. My maid of honor laughed. I've been working on him for months. I didn't say a word, I changed everything. I was sitting on the edge of a king-sized hotel bed at 11:47 p.m., wearing an oversized college sweatshirt and mismatched socks, eating the last of a room service fruit plate, when I heard my best friend of 11 years casually planning to destroy my wedding. Not metaphorically, not dramatically, literally, through the paper-thin connecting wall between our suites, in the same relaxed, almost bored voice she used to order coffee. The way someone talks when they've rehearsed something so many times it stopped feeling wrong. Spill wine on her dress, she said. Lose the rings, whatever it takes. She doesn't deserve him. I set down the strawberry I was holding. I didn't drop it. I didn't gasp. I just set it down on the white ceramic plate with this strange, mechanical precision, like some part of my brain had already decided that whatever came next was going to require both hands. Then Vanessa said the line that I still hear sometimes when the room goes quiet. Men like Ethan don't marry girls like Olivia unless they want someone safe. I'm just correcting his mistake. My name. She said my name, and something inside me, some warm, foolish, trusting thing I had been carrying around for 11 years, cracked clean down the middle and fell away. I didn't cry. I want you to understand that. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't throw something at the wall. I just sat there in my mismatched socks while my pulse did something slow and strange in my throat, and I thought, okay, so that's who she is. Then I picked up my phone and started recording. Let me back up, because you need to understand what Vanessa was to me before you can understand what that moment cost. I met her the first week of college, fall semester, freshman year. The kind of meeting that feels, in retrospect, like a scene from a movie you've watched so many times you've forgotten it's not your own memory. She was standing in the hallway of our dormitory arguing passionately with a vending machine that had eaten her dollar and refused to produce the Cheez-Its she'd paid for. I watched her negotiate with it, actually negotiate out loud, explaining her position, for a full 30 seconds before she turned around and caught me staring. It owes me, she said simply. I laughed, and that was it. 11 years of birthday dinners and 2 a.m. phone calls and airport pickup runs, and the specific kind of intimacy that comes from knowing someone's embarrassing stories and keeping them safe. She was the first person I called when my father had his heart attack. She was sitting next to me in the waiting room when the doctor came out. She helped me pick out the dress I wore to his funeral 2 years later. She was there, or I thought she was there. I'm still sorting out the difference. Ethan I met 4 years ago, at a work event I nearly didn't attend. The kind of mandatory fun corporate gathering where everyone stands around with a glass of wine pretending to enjoy themselves. He was leaning against a wall near the exit, with the expression of a man quietly planning his escape, and I recognized that expression because I was wearing the same one. We ended up outside on a fire escape, talking about nothing, and then about everything, and by the time someone came to find us, we'd been out there for 2 hours, and I had already, quietly, without quite admitting it to myself, decided I was in trouble. He proposed 14 months later, in the kitchen. Not a grand gesture, just the two of us. Sunday morning, he was making eggs and I was reading something on my phone, and he turned around and said, I want to do this forever, with you, just like this. And the ring was already in his hand. I said yes before he finished the sentence. Vanessa was the first person I called. She screamed, she cried. She drove 40 minutes to my apartment to see the ring in person. She volunteered to be maid of honor before I'd even thought to ask. And over the next 8 months, she threw herself into the wedding planning with an intensity that I genuinely thought was love. Love for me, the kind of devotion you only find in the people who are truly in your corner. I see it differently now. I see the way she positioned herself at the center of every decision. The venue, the flowers, the catering, the timeline. She had an opinion on all of it, and her opinions always seemed to pull things slightly away from what I wanted, and towards something more her. I told myself she had better taste. I told myself she cared. I told myself the faint, persistent unease I felt in certain moments was just pre-wedding anxiety, the normal human terror of a big change. I told myself a lot of things. I noticed the way she laughed at Ethan's jokes a half-second longer than necessary. I noticed the way she'd touch his arm when she made a point, not flirtatiously, or at least not in any way I could have named without sounding paranoid and jealous. I noticed that she was always, in every group photo, positioned next to him. I noticed that she'd suggested twice that Ethan and I should take some time apart before the wedding, just to make the reunion sweeter, and that the suggestions had come with offers for her to keep him company at events I wasn't attending. I noticed, and I dismissed, over and over and over, because she was my best friend, and doubting her felt like doubting myself. She'd insisted on being the one to hold the rings during the ceremony. It's tradition, she'd said. The maid of honor holds the rings. It's an honor, I'd agreed. Why wouldn't I? Now I knew why I shouldn't have. The voice on the other side of the wall belonged to Kendra, who was technically my bridesmaid, but had always been more Vanessa's friend than mine. Brought into the wedding party because Vanessa Vanessa had asked, because I'd wanted Vanessa happy, because I was the kind of person who made those kinds of accommodations without examining why. "You're evil," Kendra said, and she was giggling when she said it. The kind of giggle that means this is wrong and I know it, and I'm doing it anyway, and isn't that a little thrilling? "I've been working on him for months," Vanessa said. "I need you to understand the specific quality of silence that followed those words. Not the silence in the room, but the silence inside me. The sudden absence of the background hum of trust I had been running on for 11 years. Like a sound you've heard so constantly you stopped noticing it until the moment it stops, and the quiet is so loud it rings." Kendra said, "What if she finds out?" Vanessa laughed. Actual, genuine, unbothered laughter. She never notices anything until it's too late. That was the moment, that specific sentence, because it wasn't just cruelty, it was confidence. The confidence of someone who had tested the theory and found it reliable. She wasn't guessing that I wouldn't notice. She knew. She'd been watching me not notice for months, maybe longer, and she'd factored my blindness into her plan like a variable she'd already solved for. My hands were steady when I opened the voice memo app. That surprised me, the steadiness. I'd expected them to shake. Instead, they moved with a kind of cold efficiency, like they belonged to someone slightly different from the woman who'd been sitting here 5 minutes ago eating fruit and thinking about vows. I pressed record. I walked to the connecting door, slowly, in socked feet, the carpet muffling every step. I pressed my phone against the thin gap at the bottom of the door, and for 4 minutes and 17 seconds, I recorded everything. The dress, the rings, Ethan, the months of working on him, the contingency plans, what to do if I noticed, what to do if things went wrong, how to handle the ceremony if the dress plan didn't work out. Kendra asking whether the ring thing was really necessary, and Vanessa saying the rings are the most visible part. If they're lost, it derails everything, with the casual authority of someone who had genuinely thought this through. 4 minutes and 17 seconds of the clearest audio you've ever heard. When I walked back to the bed, I sat down and I played it back once to make sure it was clean, and then I set the phone face down on the nightstand next to my vow cards, and I stared at the ceiling for a long time. Then I picked up the phone again and I started making calls. At 12:03 a.m., I called Marissa Delgado. Marissa has been a wedding planner for 19 years. She is precisely the kind of woman you want running your wedding, the kind who has encountered every possible disaster with calm, methodical competence and has contingency plans for her contingency plans. She answered on the second ring, which told me she'd been awake anyway, probably reviewing tomorrow's timeline because that was the kind of professional she was. "Olivia," she said, "what's wrong?" "I need you to listen carefully," I said, "and then I need you to help me change some things." I told her everything. I played her the audio through the phone. There was a long silence when it finished. "Okay," she said, not "oh my god" or "I can't believe it" or any of the reactions that would have been understandable and useless. Just, "Okay, here's what we're going to do." By 12:31 a.m., my wedding dress, which had been hanging in its white garment bag on the back of the bathroom door, had been moved to a locked storage room on the 3rd floor that only Marissa had the key code for. The hotel manager, a composed and efficient man named Derek Osei, who Marissa clearly had an excellent working relationship with, facilitated this personally. He also assigned a staff member to monitor the corridor outside my original suite without making it obvious. At 12:47 a.m., I texted my brother Ryan. Ryan is 34, 6'2", and works in corporate security. He is not an excitable person. His response to the audio clip I sent him was a single line: "On my way up. Tell me what you need." I told him what I needed. He would be holding the real rings, not the box Vanessa expected to carry, a decoy ring box identical to the real one, containing 2 simple silver bands I'd had Marissa source from the hotel gift shop at midnight, bless her, but the actual rings in his jacket pocket to be handed to the officiant at exactly the right moment. At 1:14 a.m., I called my cousin Chloe and booked a second hotel suite in her name. Hair and makeup were officially relocated. My phone, when Vanessa called it in the morning, would go to voicemail. The number Marissa controlled, the wedding coordination line, would be the only active communication channel, and it would give information on a strict need-to-know basis. At 1:38 a.m., I walked to the hotel's front desk and spoke with the night manager, a young woman named Priya who absorbed all of this with remarkable composure and arranged for a revised guest access list to be on file with security by 6 in the morning. 2 names were flagged: Vanessa Callahan and Kendra Marsh. Their access to restricted areas, my suite, the bridal preparation rooms, the catering areas, was revoked. Quietly, no scene, just a quiet, firm redirection when the moment came. At 2:36 a.m., I texted Ethan, "We need to make quiet changes to tomorrow. Trust me. Don't react yet." He replied in 53 seconds. "I trust you. Tell me what to do." I sat with that text for a moment, just sat with it, because I realized, in the strange clarity of 2:36 a.m. after the worst and best few hours of my life, that this was the thing Vanessa had never understood, the thing that made her entire calculation wrong from the beginning. She thought Ethan was someone I'd gotten by being safe, by being the comfortable choice. She thought if she disrupted enough, destabilized enough, gave him a different option at the right moment, he'd recalibrate. She thought she understood what men like Ethan wanted. She thought she knew him, but she didn't know that on our 3rd date, he'd spent 40 minutes helping a stranger change a flat tire in the rain and refused to make it a story afterward. She didn't know that he called his mother every Sunday and that the calls were real, not obligatory. She didn't know that he'd had told me 6 months in that what he loved most about me wasn't anything surface level, but the specific way I paid attention to people, the way I noticed things. She never notices anything until it's too late. She was wrong about that, and more importantly, she'd never bothered to check. Keep your phone on, I texted back to Ethan. Everything is handled. I love you. I love you more than I know how to say. Sleep if you can. I'll be at the altar. I set the phone down and looked at my vow cards on the nightstand. I picked them up and read through them. The words I'd written 3 weeks ago, revised twice, finalized last Tuesday. I thought about rewriting them. I didn't. They were still true. More true, maybe, for what I now knew. At 6 a.m., I was awake. I'd slept 3 hours, which under the circumstances felt like a gift. At 7:30 a.m., I was in Chloe's suite in a robe, drinking the best coffee I'd ever tasted, probably because I'd earned it, while the hairstylist, a woman named B, who had no idea anything had happened, worked on Chloe's braids and chatted about a TV show she'd been watching. At 9:47 a.m., Vanessa called my phone for the first time. I watched the screen light up and go to voicemail. At 10:02 a.m., she called again. Voicemail, 10:11, 10:24, 10:39, 10:52. 6 calls. No texts. She was smart enough not to put anything in writing, which told me the recording had been produced by a version of Vanessa who hadn't believed she'd ever need to be careful. Kendra texted from a number I had saved, but never texted much. Where are you? Hair is here. Marissa from the wedding coordination account replied, schedule updated. Please proceed to the venue by 1 p.m. Everything is on track. In Chloe's suite, I laughed softly into my coffee cup. Chloe, who knew everything. I told her at 1:14 a.m. She'd cried, then gotten angry, then gotten focused with the particular efficiency of a woman who has run a nonprofit for 7 years and understands logistics. Looked at me over her mug and said, you're a terrifyingly calm person, you know that? I feel like jello on the inside, I said. You look like someone who's already won. I thought about that. I think I might be, I said, which is a strange thing to think about your wedding day. Best wedding day story ever, Chloe said. Your grandchildren will ask for this one. We arrived at the venue at 12:15. The Harbor View Chapel, Vanessa's suggestion actually, and now I'd be thinking about that forever, was everything I'd wanted when I'd agreed to it. Old stone, tall windows facing the water, light that came in during the afternoon ceremony like something deliberately beautiful. Marissa was already there, clipboard in hand, moving with the quiet authority of a general on a field she'd prepared personally. She pulled me aside before I went in. They're here, she said. Arrived 10 minutes ago. Tried to access the bridal suite. Security redirected them to the main foyer. How did that go? Vanessa asked to speak with you. Marissa paused. I told her you were unavailable, but that everything was perfectly on schedule and she should find her seat. Was she angry? She was controlled, which is probably worse. Marissa looked at me steadily. Are you ready for the possibility that she finds you before the ceremony? Yes, I said. Good. She handed me a small earpiece, a two-way radio channel she'd established between herself, Ryan, and Derek from the hotel, who'd come as additional coordination support. Ryan has the rings. Ethan's been briefed. He knows the decoy plan and has confirmed with the efficient. Your guests are seated. The program has been printed. The program. I'd made the change at 3 a.m. Every page reprinted by the hotel's business center by 7. Vanessa Callahan, maid of honor. Kendra Marsh, bridesmaid. Both names gone. Replaced in the credits by a single line in italics beneath the wedding party listing. The bride is accompanied by family and lifelong friends whose love has carried her here. I walked to the bridal room. I put on my dress, the real one, the one Vanessa had never touched. Marissa zipped it. Chloe handed me my bouquet. My mother, who'd driven 3 hours and knew nothing of what had happened, took one look at me and put her hand over her mouth. Oh, Olivia, she said. I know, I said, and that was when Vanessa found me. She came through the side door. I don't know how. Maybe she followed someone in. Maybe she just knew the venue well enough from all those planning meetings to find the unguarded entrance. She was in the pale blue bridesmaid dress, hair perfect, makeup immaculate, and her face when she saw me in the dress was a complicated thing. For just 1/2 second, something real moved through it. Something that might have been, once, genuine love. Then it closed over, and she looked at me with the expression of someone who has calculated, quickly, what their best angle is. My mother and Chloe went still. I need a minute with Olivia, Vanessa said. I'm fine, I told my mother and Chloe. Give us a minute. They moved to the far side of the room, just far enough. Vanessa came close. Her voice was low, controlled. The voice of someone who has decided that a measured approach is their best remaining option. You cannot do this to me on your wedding day. I looked at her. I'd been looking at this face for 11 years. I'd thought I knew every expression it made. Now I was seeing a new one, the face beneath the face, the one that existed when there was nothing left to perform for. I already did, I said, because of some private conversation, a slight tightening around her eyes, testing whether I'd show guilt or uncertainty or the instinct to apologize that she'd probably seen me demonstrate hundreds of times before. Because you plan to ruin my dress, I said, lose my rings, and spent months trying to sleep with my fiancé. That's not what I recorded it, Vanessa. The color left her face so quickly it was almost physical to watch. Not a flush, not a gradual draining, just there and then gone. Under the foundation, under the highlighter, under all of it, suddenly just pale. She stood there for 3 full seconds without speaking. And then, and this is the part I have replayed more than any other, because it is such a perfect and terrible window into exactly who she turned out to be, she said the only thing she had left. So you're throwing away away 11 years of friendship over a man? I almost smiled. I felt it at the corners of my mouth, and I let it sit there, quiet. No, I said. I'm ending a fake friendship over character. She opened her mouth. She closed it. There was nothing. No argument that didn't require admitting the recording was real. No appeal that didn't require me to extend the same trust she'd spent months exploiting. No version of this conversation where she wins, because she'd built her entire strategy on a foundation that wasn't there. The assumption that I was the kind of woman who could be handled, managed, safely underestimated. I turned to the mirror and checked my lipstick. You should find your seat, I said. The ceremony starts in 12 minutes. Ryan walked me down the aisle. He's not a sentimental man, my brother. He coaches youth basketball on weekends and cries at exactly one category of thing: dogs and movies. But when he offered me his arm outside the chapel doors, there was something in his face that made me have to look away for a second and breathe. You good? He asked. I'm so good, I said. That's my sister, he said quietly. Not to me, to no one. Just said it. The music started, the doors opened, and I walked into the rest of my life. Ethan was at the altar. I had worried in some small 3 a.m. way that the chaos of the night would leave a mark on this moment, that I'd be walking toward him, still carrying the weight of what I'd heard, the adrenaline of what I'd done, the grief of what I'd lost. But when the doors opened and I saw him standing there, steady hands, bright eyes, the specific expression he makes when he's trying very hard not to cry, everything else went quiet. He looked at me the way he always looks at me, the way that has never once felt like settling or safety or anything other than the best and most specific kind of being seen. To my left, in the second row on the far side, partially obscured by a floral arrangement Vanessa had helped pick out, I could see her. Pale blue dress, perfect posture, eyes straight ahead. Beside her, Kendra, who had her phone in her lap and seemed to be working very hard at appearing casual. Two women in carefully selected dresses, for roles they no longer held, watching a wedding they'd tried to ruin. I looked away from them. I looked at Ethan. The officiant began to speak. When the moment came, Ryan stepped forward with the real rings. Not the decoy box, but the actual case, which he produced from his inside jacket pocket with the quiet efficiency of a man who has been trusted with something important and treated it accordingly. He passed them to the officiant. Across the room, I saw Vanessa's hands tighten on her program, knuckles briefly white, as she understood that the box she'd been supposed to hold, the box she'd planned to lose, was not the box that mattered. I almost felt something for her in that moment. Not forgiveness, not yet, maybe not ever, but something like sadness for the version of her that might have been real. For 11 years of memories that I now had to re-examine in a different light, sorting through them like a box of photographs, checking each one to see which parts were genuine and which were performance, but only almost. Then Ethan took my hands, and everything else fell away again. I read my vows, the ones I'd written 3 weeks ago, the ones I hadn't changed because they were still true. I watched his face while I read them. When I finished, he took a breath that wasn't quite steady. I had a whole speech prepared, he said. I practiced it. I had note cards. A small pause. I'm probably going to say something different. I laughed. Half the room laughed with me. What I want to say, he said, is that I've spent the last 4 years knowing, in a very specific way, that you are the most precise and observant person I've ever met. You notice everything. You see people clearly. And somehow you chose to see me, really see me, and decide I was worth staying for. His voice was steadier now. I spent my whole life hoping I'd find someone who would actually see me. You did. You do. Every day. And I plan to spend the rest of my life making sure you know it. Later, he told me he'd had no idea how true all of that would turn out to be. When the officiant said the words, Ethan slid the ring onto my finger. I slid his ring onto his. Across the room, a small decoy box in a pale blue bridesmaid's clutch remained empty, meaningless. The center of a plan that had already been dismantled from the inside. You may kiss the bride. Ethan leaned in, and before he kissed me, he said, quietly, just for me, you saved us. I squeezed his hands. We saved us, I said. At the reception, Vanessa and Kendra sat at a table near the back, far from the head table, far from the speeches, far from the dances. I know this not because I was watching, I wasn't, but because Marissa told me afterward, with the brisk factual delivery of a professional event debrief. Their place cards had been moved from their original positions near the front. They received the same dinner as everyone else. They were not mistreated. They were simply absent from everything that mattered. During Ryan's toast, he talked about watching his little sister grow into the kind of woman who, under pressure, becomes more herself rather than less. He didn't reference the night before. He didn't need to. He raised his glass and said, to Olivia, who always knows exactly what she's doing, and to Ethan, who was smart enough to figure that out. They left before the cake. I know because Marissa told me, slipped it to me in a quiet moment, just the 2 words. They're gone. I nodded. And then Chloe grabbed my hand and pulled me back onto the dance floor, and the band played something loud and ridiculous, and I danced with my husband in the harbor light, and I didn't think about Vanessa again until the car ride to the hotel, and then, just briefly, just long enough to feel the loss of it, not of her, but of who I'd believed her to be, the friend I'd thought I had, the 11 years I'd thought were real. Ethan was watching me. He knows my silences. You okay? He asked. I think so, I said. I think I will be. You want to talk about it? Not tonight, I said. Tonight I just want this. He took my hand and didn't let go for the rest of the drive. Here is what happened afterward. Not everything. Some of it is still unfolding, still being sorted through, still sitting in a lawyer's file that I'm not sure will ever need to be opened. happened. I did consult an attorney. Her name is Patricia Sohn, and she has been practicing civil and family law for 22 years, and once successfully sued a man who sabotaged his business partner's wedding because he wanted the partner's wife. She listened to the recording, reviewed the timeline I'd documented, and told me I had grounds for a harassment claim, potentially tortious interference. I haven't filed, I'm holding it. The recording lives in 3 places: my phone, a cloud backup, and Patricia's secure server, and it will continue to live there for as long as I feel it needs to. Vanessa called me twice in the week after the wedding. I didn't answer. She sent one text: "I think you owe me the chance to explain." I read it and set the phone down and went for a walk, and when I came back, I blocked her number and I haven't unblocked it. Kendra sent a longer message, a sort of partial apology that managed to be entirely about how awkward the situation was for her, with almost no acknowledgement of what they'd been planning to do. I read it once and deleted it. 3 mutual friends have reached out asking if Vanessa and I had a falling out. I've been honest. I haven't shared the recording, not yet. That's information I'm holding carefully because there's a difference between justice and burning things down, and I'm not interested in burning things down. I'm interested in protecting what matters. What matters is this. 7 months after the wedding, Ethan and I are in our apartment on a Sunday morning, and he's making eggs, and I'm reading something on my phone, and it is exactly the forever he asked for in the kitchen 4 years ago. The ordinary, specific, unremarkable beauty of it. The coffee getting cold while we talk. The dog. We got a dog, a rescue shepherd mix named Biscuit, who Ethan cries over every single time she does something cute, asleep on the couch. This is what Vanessa was trying to take, not Ethan. She never really understood Ethan. What she was trying to take was this: the ordinary life, the real one, the one that doesn't look like much from the outside, but that is quietly and completely everything. She didn't get it. She never got it. She got a seat in the second row and a decoy ring box, and a recording on a lawyer's server and a blocked phone number, and the specific, unspectacular outcome of someone who mistook blindness for stupidity. I don't hate her. I want to be clear about that. Hatred would require me to keep thinking about her, and I have better things to think about. I just know her now for exactly who she is, and she has to live with being that person. I don't.